Okay, it is finally time to talk about the new Ryzen, the new hardware that's coming up. I believe on September 28th, just at the end of the month here, is when the release is expected for the new AMD gear. Man, we have Ryzen 7000 Zen 4 CPU launches. This is gonna be it's gonna be incredible, honestly. At least that's what I really hope for. Now I have a bunch of notes here. This is for the announcements here. So I'm kind of going to go down my list of notes that I thought was some key points. And of course, show you some graphs and stuff from the actual presentation that AMD showed us the other day. Ryzen 7000 series is finally 5 gigahertz across the board. So no matter which CPU you get from the lowest to the highest end, you're going to be getting a 5 gigahertz chip with, of course, all the cores you expect. So no matter how many cores is on there, you can expect to have some 5 gigahertz performance. That is awesome to finally hear. We've been kind of waiting for it for quite a little while now, and we're here at it. AMD has finally crossed over the 5 gigahertz line. And it's nice to see that they were able to do it across the board. So all their new CPUs will be 5 gigahertz plus on boost. Another thing I found very interesting is they talked about some graphs where they're finally leading Intel in single core performance. And they didn't just kind of hammer that home with one graph. No. They decided that they were going to start with putting their gaming benchmarks on, where they were putting their lower CPU against Intel's highest end CPU to show how strong the single core actually is when it comes to the 5 gigahertz boost and the 5 nanometer technology, and how this new fab is really working for them. And I found that very interesting. It's hard to take that seriously because it's so extreme. I don't think I've ever heard or seen any company actually do that before, where they say, well, we're gonna take our lowest CPU and then put up against the highest of the last competition. So yeah, that's pretty crazy to see that, and we're gonna have to just wait for the reviews to come out to see how real that really is. I'm thinking it's pretty real. Another big thing, of course, because AMD has shrunk down to 5 nanometer now, so that means it's going to be more efficiency, and of course, you can expect it to cool better. However, also wait for reviews on this one because, well, there's been a little bit of talk around the web that maybe AMD's chips are not as cool as they talked about on their event. Yep. So we'll wait and see. One thing I did want to point out is, like I said, there was a lot of charts here. AMD actually put 7-zip performance on these charts, showing, I mean, technically, compression programs do use CPU power and they do perform better with more CPU horsepower behind them. It was just very funny and interesting to see that 7-zip made the actual charts on AMD's announcements. That's pretty crazy. 3D cache will continue into the future for the new series. I was kind of surprised by this. I don't. I guessing I underestimated. I should say I underestimated how well the 3D cache CPU sold, because I was thinking that they didn't sell that well, considering that there was no real reason to get them when they first came out. So maybe they actually did really well, and whatever the going on is with AMD, they decided that they're going to keep doing 3D cache CPUs, and we can expect 3D cache technology and all the upcoming CPUs coming out. I believe coming out in this lineup. I believe they will have 3D cache. I'll double check that. I'll put it on the screen when I find out. All right. One thing that is also really nice to hear was that AMD expects to have that same longevity in terms of support, just like they did for their last lineup, their current gen right now, which everyone is using, the 5000 series. Now we can also expect that the 7000 series will also have that same longevity and backwards compatibility. So as they are upgrading from this point, from when Zen 4 drops with the new motherboards and all of that, each iteration of Zen 4 CPUs that comes out for the next few years is going to be able to use these same boards. At least that is what I am really hoping for, and I expect, and what many others expect as well, when AMD decide to talk about this on stage. Now, in terms of the lineup, we have something very kind of interesting going on here. So we have the X70 lineup and the B650 lineup. Obviously, the X70 lineup is for your prosumers, your people who like to be on more higher end, and the B650 lineup is for those on the mid to more budget range. I've never actually used the B board. I actually used the X570 boards from the time I started using the new AMD CPUs, and honestly, I actually used like the cheapest X570 board I can get my hands on, which was the Gigabyte X570E or something like that. That I have currently running in Patience right now, and it's been an incredible board. It has been rock solid stable. I've had zero issues with it, and I might take that same approach with this new hardware when I get onto it, which will not be this year, and I'll talk a little bit more about that going towards the end of the video. However, one thing that's very interesting is this board, they have extreme levels of both of these boards, and that one I'm finding a little bit confusing. So not only is there an X70, X670 Extreme, there is a B650 Extreme. I don't know who this is for. We're gonna have to wait for again, waiting for the reviews to see exactly who is this for? Like, who is the extreme version is really going to be for? Like, is it really going to be that big a difference between the extreme and non-extreme versions of these two boards or these two board lineups to warrant the extra cost for them? Apparently, the extreme version is supposed to have more integration with PCI Express 5.0, and of course that is useful for your newer M2 drives and things of that matter. It's not going to be that useful for GPUs at this moment right now because we barely saturated PCI Express 4.0, let alone 5.0. So yeah, so we're not sure who this is for, but if you're someone who is a heavy PCI Express user, like you have a lot of add-on cards, things of that matter, then this is going to be for you. You're probably going to always want one of the extreme boards. Something that might rub people the wrong way is, as AMD has confirmed, like they confirmed it a long time ago, but they just reiterated it, that all boards are DDR5. There'll be no DDR4 support on this new platform. Right now, the DDR5 prices, of course, high because, again, they're still relatively new. So this is going to be something that if you're trying to jump into the platform immediately right now, you got to factor in that cost into your budget, and it's not going to be exactly cheap. So the prices are coming down everywhere on everything in terms of the PC space right now, which is a really good thing. And of course, we have some deals coming up. Obviously, Black Friday and all that is around the corner next month. So no, there will be deals coming. So take advantage of those if you're really trying to jump in on this platform. One thing it'll be interesting to see in terms of DDR5 is the memory compatibility, because if you remember back when the last big AMD launch, memory compatibility was kind of not exactly solid. A lot of things there was a good few amount of brands that did work, Corsair, G-Skill, things of that matter, but there was a fair amount of brands that didn't work or didn't work right or didn't work at all. In certain boards, it was kind of all over the place. So we'll see how that works out with this new platform. Motherboards. Now the motherboards are starting around $125. However, I have heard after this announcement, more pricing has come out that these boards are actually not going to be that cheap. If you do find a board for $125, it's probably going to be around the B650 range. However, the X670 and the extreme versions of these motherboards probably will be more along the lines of $300 to $400. So again, take advantage of the deals that are coming, the Black Friday sales and all that kind of stuff. Factor that into your budget and take advantage of any sale you can if you plan on jumping in immediately this year. Finally, let's get to what CPUs we can look forward to this year. What CPUs are being released? We have the Ryzen 9 7950X, 16-core, 32-thread, 5.7 gigahertz, starting at $699. That is actually a little bit cheaper than last generation's top-of-the-line CPU. I believe it was the 5950X. Now, and then after that, we have the Ryzen 9 7900X, 12 core, 24 thread, 5.6 gigahertz, $549. Then we have the Ryzen 7 7700X, 8 core, 16 thread, 5.4 gigahertz, $399. And then we have the Ryzen 5 7600X, 6 core, 12 thread, 5.3 gigahertz, $299. All of these will be releasing on September 27th. And pretty much none of these have a TDP over 170 watts. Again, hitting on that cooling aspect, which I said we're gonna have to wait to see to make sure it works out the way it should. I'm assuming it will. One last thing that Lisa Su decided to show us about was the GPU space in the 7000 series GPUs that is upcoming. No release date yet, but she did say that it was coming on well, and she expects more than 50% increase in performance compared to the 6000 series that we are currently running for AMD in terms of GPUs. And that is going to be interesting to see. I know one thing, Cyberpunk, you can definitely use a little bit more GPU power, because holy moly, you can have even 3090 NVIDIA and the FPS is still not what it should be. See, some of these games, a few of these games are really cranking on the GPU power. So I'll be very interested to see how that goes when we finally get to that, but we're not there yet. But it was nice to see a little bit of performance from the 7950X GPU upcoming towards the end. Honestly, it didn't really that much to me. It was just showing the benchmark running, so it really didn't give us much, except for just letting us know that it is coming and it is already in the final phases, which again is really great to see. So that is all that we gathered from the last AMD announcement. I know I'm a little bit late on this, and you guys have seen maybe countless videos on that, but of course, got to throw my one little nugget video in there just to let you guys know, and also to remind you guys that this is a very new platform, and don't forget that this current generation that we're on, the RX6000 series GPUs, the AMD 5000 CPUs, are at good prices right now. And they will probably have a lot better deals once the new gear releases. It is not a big deal to say, hey, wait on the new stuff. It's not like it's going to be 100% stable. At least I don't think it's going to be. And obviously, scalping is going to be included when it comes to these new things. The current generation is awesome. And I don't really care whether you're AMD or Intel, whichever platform you're on. The current generation of GPUs and CPUs are awesome, and the prices are coming down to be way more affordable. Get in on that. If you really want to upgrade your system, depending on where you're at with your upgrades, if it fits into your budget, go for that. Leave the newer stuff to the reviewers, to who are going to get it for free, and be able to, and even though they're going to get it for free, they're going to suffer to go through all the BIOS issues, the driver issues, and all that kind of stuff, because that it is bleeding edge hardware. I don't care to be a guinea pig. I rather wait until all the dust has settled and the platform is truly stable before I jump in, and that usually takes almost a year to really work out all of those kinks. So for me, I'm going to see what deals is on this current generation. Maybe I'll upgrade my GPU again, which I overpaid like hell for. But I'm still not even using the latest AMD GPU. Maybe I'll do that instead. And that decision is those kind of decisions I also want you to think about as well. All right. So that's all. I'm going to leave you with that one. You guys have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.